Alright, so we've called you in to fix this problem with the quiz you had a couple of days ago. In that quiz you had to determine the type of bond and then the properties of the substance based on its type of bonds. So we'll go ahead and attack that real fast. First off, in these boxes, this number right here, that tells you the electronegativity. That was supposed to be a line, but whatever. The electronegativity is how hard the atom pulls on an electron when it's bonded to something else. In order to determine the types of bonds, you have to find the difference in the electronegativity between two types of atoms. So I put an example one right here is MgCl2. For these problems, this number right here is not important. It's telling us that there's two bonds with Mg and two Cl's, but that doesn't matter. We just care about the value between Mg and Cl. So I find Mg is a 1.2. I find that Cl is equal to 3. It's easier to do this if you take the small number and subtract it from the big number. That way you get a positive value. If you ever get a negative value, though, just ignore that sign because it really doesn't matter. When you do this math, you get 1.8. And that is your difference in electronegativity. Now you will use this number to determine the type of bond. And we'll go to a different slide here to find that. Over here are our types of bonds: ionic, polar, nonpolar, and metallic. Each one of these, it gives you a value that you can compare your answer to. So our number was 1.8. 1.8 is greater than 1.7, so that would be an ionic bond. Hopefully you're okay with that so far. Let's do one more. So if we had like phosphorus and it was going to hang out with fluorine, so let's say it was P2F3 or something like that. Remember, these values are not important. Good morning. So we find the difference between these two values. I just erased that, or covered it, but it's a 4. So take the large one, which is 4, minus the small one, 2.1, and I get 1.9. Alright, that was another large value, so that would be ionic. Let's do one that's not ionic. Let's say we have nitrogen and oxygen. Oxygen's at 3.5. Nitrogen's at 3. 3.5 minus 3 is 0.5. That is smaller than 1.7. It is not between these two values, so it is less than 0.6. So any combination of N and O would be a nonpolar covalent bond. Okay. Now that you know how to determine the type of bond, you will now have to find the properties. So let's say we just had that NO molecule and we know it's nonpolar. So then you would have a series of questions that would say something like, does it dissolve in water, hexane, both, or neither? So dissolving and solubility mean the same thing. So you would come here and you'd say, alright, since it's nonpolar, it dissolves in hexane. It might ask you if it conducts. You would come right here. Conductivity says none, so no matter how it asks about conducts, you put no. It could say, does it have a high, medium, or low melting and boiling point? You can see right here, that's low. It might say brittle or malleable, and your answer is right there. For the ones that were ionic, they dissolve in water. They will not conduct in pure form. They only conduct in solution. They're brittle and high. So answer those few questions at the end, and hopefully you are successful.